All right, so if you're aiming for the top, you've heard the advice a million times. Just study more. 10 hours a day at least, right? But what if the real champions have a completely different playbook? Today, we're going to crack open a guide from an actual Olympiad training camp that shows you how to study smarter, not just harder.
So let's just get right to it. Is that 10-hour-day grind really the secret to winning? I mean, the pressure is huge, we all feel it. But let's be honest, that path so often leads to burnout, not brilliance. There has to be a better way, a more strategic, sustainable way to get to the top. And here it is, our source material. This is a guide straight from an Olympiad training camp, and it promises 3 powerful study tricks. And check this out, it makes a really bold claim right on the cover. The third point is very often overlooked. So, we're not just getting tips here, we're getting an inside secret. You are definitely going to want to stick around for that last one.
Okay, first things first, we have to dismantle this whole idea of the 10-hour study myth. Because when you're talking about elite performance, more isn't just not better, sometimes it's actually worse. It's all about the quality of your focus, not the quantity of your minutes.
This right here, this is the crucial mindset shift. You see, true champions don't just have a giant library of facts in their head. They have a mental blueprint. They get the fundamental structure of their subject so deeply that they can adapt to any problem you throw at them, no matter how weird or new it looks.
So how in the world do you build that mental blueprint? Well, it all starts with our very first champion trick, the CDL method. This is the foundation for getting that deep structural knowledge we've been talking about.
CDL stands for Concept Decomposition Layering. Now, the keywords to focus on here are decomposition and layering. Instead of just memorizing what the source calls the skin of the material, those surface-level facts, this method trains you to break a topic down into its core logical layers.
So how does it work? It's pretty cool. You move through 4 distinct layers. First, you just nail the most basic definitions. Simple enough. Then you define the limits. Where does this concept actually apply and, just as important, where does it break? Third, you build out its mathematical form. And finally, this is the fun part, you push it to the absolute extreme. You generalize it for the wildest cases you can possibly imagine. It's kind of like understanding a building's entire blueprint instead of just admiring the paint job. And the big takeaway here is that with CDL, you're basically prepared for anything. You're not just memorizing answers, you're building the mental machinery to figure out the answers from scratch. And that is how champions can look at a problem they've never seen before and know exactly how to attack it. All right, so you've got this deep understanding now. How do you practice effectively? Well, not with those long, draining marathon sessions. No way. You use trick number 2, the MSP technique, which stands for Micro Sprint Practice.
I mean, just look at the difference here. Marathon studying, we've all done it. The sessions are long, your focus drifts, and it leads straight to burnout. Your brain just can't stay at peak performance for that long. But micro sprints? They're short, hyper-focused bursts of effort that build mental agility and, crucially, keep you from hitting that wall.
And get this, how long is a microsprint? Just 7 to 12 minutes. That's it. It sounds almost ridiculously short, right? Too short to be effective, but that's the magic, that's the secret. It forces you to be incredibly efficient and absolutely laser-focused.
The whole format is super simple. You take one tiny subproblem, you attack it with everything you've got for about 7 minutes, then you stop and evaluate your work, and then you move to the next sprint. You might do, say, 6 to 8 of these in a single session. Think about it. You're training your brain like a sprinter, building that explosive power and rapid adaptation, not just slow, grinding endurance.
And now, it's time for the trick that the source calls most rarely known. This is the one that truly separates the champions from everyone else. It's a complete reversal of how almost all of us are taught to learn. So welcome to the RLP, the Reverse Learning Pipeline.
Just let that sink in for a second. We are always taught to learn the theory first and then apply it to problems. This flips that entire model completely on its head. You start with the problem and you work your way backward to actually discover the theory.
So here's how the flow works. You literally start at the end. Step 1, you find one of the hardest, nastiest problems you can get your hands on. Don't even worry about solving it yet. Step 2, you just break that problem down into its little component parts, its mini concepts. And only then, for step 3, do you go on a hunt for the theory that explains those specific parts. You're basically a detective, starting with the evidence, the problem, to uncover the underlying principles.
This is the real power of RLP.
See, when you learn a theory this way, it's not just some abstract rule you read in a textbook. It has context. It's a tool you found because you needed it to solve a very specific, very difficult problem. And that creates this incredibly powerful memory hook, making it almost impossible to forget when and why that concept is useful.
So let's bring this all home. What we've uncovered here isn't just a random collection of tips, it's a complete shift in philosophy. It's about moving away from the brute force of just counting hours and into a mindset of surgical precision and real strategy.
So here it is. This is your new toolkit. You've got CDL, which lets you deconstruct topics to get that deep structural knowledge. You have MSP, where you practice in focused sprints to build rapid skill adaptation. And you have RLP, where you reverse the whole flow of learning to create contextual, lasting memory. Each trick builds on the last, creating this powerful system for elite performance.
Ultimately, this all leads to one final thought. Success isn't a prize for suffering the most. It's the result of an intelligent strategy. It's not about the hours you clock in, but about the intelligence you clock with. So the real question for you is, after seeing these 3 tricks, how are you going to redesign your study time?